Alright everybody, welcome back to That's Just My Opinion. I am Merlin, and today, kind of as a 1-year anniversary special, I will be looking at Keeping My Pack, Book 2 of the My Pack series by Lane Witt. For some reason, the first book of this series, Finding My Pack, was one of the earliest reviews I did, and it is far and away my most popular. Why? I don't know, but you guys seem to like watching it, even if you don't agree with me, but hey, that's the point of this channel. So, anyway, going into book 2, it starts pretty much right where the first one left off, with Kitten having been abducted by her evil uncle, because it's always an evil uncle. You get evil stepmoms every now and then, you get evil uncles, but you never get an evil aunt. It's just kind of weird. Wonder what's up with that. Anyway, she is being tortured, and yes, she's being tortured by her evil uncle, who it seems like his plan is very unclear, and I'll get into my thoughts on that later. But Kitten's in a rough place. We cut over to the guys, who are desperately trying to find her. They end up tracking down her biological grandfather, and they're like, hey, she's alive. And he's like, she's alive? I didn't even know she existed. All right, let's go bust her out. So they go and they bust her out, and evil uncle, being cornered, tries to do something to Kitten, and then when he gets caught before he can complete whatever he was going to do, he tries to kill her, but the guys end up turning her, because even though she's a born wolf, they still have to turn her to get her to turn into a true wolf. Don't really get it. And she gets turned, and they go back to their house, and everything is hunky-dory, and she starts doing the mating bite with all 8 of them. Grandpapa is asking her, like, will you become the princess that you were meant to be, because the way wolf hierarchy works, she cannot actually assume, like, leadership of her pack, only her mate can, so I guess they're gonna have 8 leaders now, but she's like, maybe, I don't know, but then again, she eventually agrees to do it. So she's like, I will become princess, and I'm like, she's not a princess, she's a queen, but it's a different argument. So they decide to move to Colorado, where the pack house is. They go to Colorado. There's a little ruffling over the fact that she has 8 mates, but that's resolved in 2 seconds. Then we see that there is a really hard class divide system amongst the wolves, which Kitten vows to overthrow and make everything equal, and there is no pushback for that, and everyone just goes, okay, we're doing this. It goes over smoothly. The end of the book is that some other wolf packs have declared war on them, because now there are these changed wolves that are their alphas with the guys, and they don't like that because changed wolves are stronger than born wolves. And the big oh boy at the end is that you find out that Kitten is pregnant. So this book, not a lot happens, as you can tell from my synopsis. And when I picked up this book to listen to it, I did not go into it with high hopes, with how I did not really care for the first book, but I was still kind of hopeful, because the synopsis talks about, will Kitten become the person she was before her uncle kidnaps her and tortures her? So I was like, okay, maybe this is gonna be, about Kitten coming to terms with her trauma, the guy's helping her. This could be really interesting. After she gets rescued, she has like a few nightmares. Like, they really don't deal with her having suffered the severe trauma that she has. It's just kind of glanced over, and she's just better. The other thing with Evil Uncle's plan that made no sense to me is, according to how the wolf hierarchy works, is that even though a daughter cannot become leader, her mate does. So she's still technically first in line to the throne before Evil Uncle, and her children would obviously become heirs after that. So my question is, why doesn't Evil Uncle just kill her? I mean, it seems like the most effective way. I mean, there is like some issue where there was like a disease that came through and like wiped out a lot of the female wolves, but he doesn't really do anything for, like, as disgusting as it would be to breed her. So I didn't get what the point of his plan is, because then when the guys are closing in, he like Kitten's kind of in and out of it, and she hears him saying like, oh, humans have been doing this to each other for, you know, years, and he starts like cutting into her stomach. So I thought he was going to perform a hysterectomy on her to prevent her from ever having children, thus eliminating her as a threat to his line. But then Kitten says that he was trying to take her eggs. But I'm like, that's not, you can't just scoop out the ovaries and that's not how it works. So it didn't make any sense to me on what his plan was. And then once she's back with the guys, the middle of the book just kind of devolves into smut and just her banging her way through these 8 guys and turning into a wolf and having some fun run around as a wolf times. And then she goes to the pack house in Colorado and says we're completely changing up the way our society works, and there is no pushback from that. And I mean, that's the thing. I was like, oh, she's just going to completely flip this on their heads, and none of the wolves that are the elites, that are the higher ups, have any, you know, problems with it. Like there's no pushback from her being like, we're completely changing the system, and none of them are like, excuse you, no, this is how we do things. There's none of that. It just smooth sailing to this war being declared on them, but the guys are like, is it actually going to be a real war? Is it not? It also, they've never really established, I don't think that we've ever had a really good example of the born wolves versus the changed wolves and how strong the differences are. Because like they constantly tell us that the guys are stronger, that they're faster. We also know that they're immortal. So it's like, okay, that could be interesting, and it doesn't, we never get a good example of seeing how much better these changed wolves are than the born wolves. So it just kind of is, yeah, just kind of, it still didn't do anything for me. Still not a fan. So yeah, if I'm going to rate Keeping My Pack, I'd probably give it maybe a 1.5. The upside was it was shorter. This is one positive thing I can say. It was a lot shorter than the first book. But anyway, for things to look forward to in the future, I actually have 2 books in the works. One is The Court of Thorns and Roses, which I've heard a lot, some pretty good reviews for. So I'm excited. I'm listening to that one right now. It's getting interesting. And then the other one that I am very excited for that we're going to do after Court of Thorns and Roses, we're going back to the Bayou. Yes, I'm very excited for that one. So I will let you guys know. Those will be coming out the next 2 videos. But hey, for now, that's just my opinion. If you disagree with me, that's totally cool. And if you would like to tell me why you like this book, leave your comments down below, and I will talk to you guys in a little while.